This week's episode was brought to you by Stephanie Curry and Megan Wells. Thank you, Stephanie Curry and Megan Wells. It's with the generous support of listeners just like you that our spectral flotilla of ghost ships lurking beyond the veil, the Bermuda Triangle, continues to oscillate the high amplitude frequency waves, maintaining the Zeta Reticulate lullaby transmission at maximum strength, ensuring the oncoming UFO invasion fleet remains hopelessly languid and sentimental, such that our football-sized fish tanks housing the giant psionic squid we birthed from genetic sequencing code found randomly inside a commercially sealed box of Cracker Jack, which I acquired from a vending machine during that inexplicable DMV bathroom incident where I awoke covered in a fine dust that turned gelatinous in the shower, only for my plumber to alert the Department of Defense, who offered to buy the subset for $4,700 before tracking mud across my floor and vanishing, can finally function at their full reality-bending defense capacity. If you'd like to help us keep the Squid Matrix activated, or just hear the second half of this episode, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where a monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you access to our secret members-only second extended half of this episode, no, you'll get the extended half of every single one of our episodes, which after a login or two is browsable from right within your normal Spotify app. But not only that, I'll send you a 5x5 high-quality vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art at no additional cost, besides the long wait. But I promise it will arrive. Aside from that, you'll receive instant access to our Discord server, which is a tree full of rabbits where all the ambient tracks from YouTube are secretly recorded. If you like the show but are saving your $5 for a really big Rice Krispie treat, then please consider giving us a like, subscribe, or best of all, a share on your social media platform of choice. If you're a Hollywood agent or manager of some big important personality, but are disgruntled and want to permanently be forbidden from working in your current profession ever again, share links to this episode on your billion-dollar client's LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. They will fire you and our lives will change forever. On this week's episode, Tim Hacker leads us on a discussion of the occult powers of telepathy and clairvoyance as described by turn-of-the-century New Thought pioneer William Walker Atkinson under his pseudonym Swami Panchadasi. Best known for his authorship of the Kybalion, secretly of course, Atkinson breaks down in plain English the straight dope concerning basic psychic ability from vague impressions or weird synchronicities we've all experienced, right up into their fully evolved form as telepathic sense and even astral projection, with all of the fixins included, of course. In the free half of the show, we discuss the difference between telepathy and clairvoyance, how it manifests, how to cultivate it, what it's capable of achieving, and the dodgy business of seeing the past by touching other people's personal property. In the extended side of the show, we discuss crystal gazing, scrying, the use of drugs and ritual, controlling psychic senses, creating psychic links, and other things we're not supposed to talk about in public. Thank you, and enjoy the show. You know, I just invented a telepathically controlled air freshener.
Oh.
It makes sense when you think about it. I
Oh.
think I've told that one on the show before.
I like that one.
Why did the clairvoyant visit the psychologist?
Why?
Because he was suffering from pre-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, God.
I once dated a clairvoyant.
Oh?
Yeah, it eventually ended when she started seeing my grandfather.
What?
What
That's
the
a bad
fuck?
joke. That's a bad joke.
No, because my grandfather's dead. And she's
I know,
psychic.
it's a bad joke.
Like, she's a medium.
I know. That's a bad joke. It's still a bad joke.
You just don't like it because it involves me dating somebody else. That's why. Let's be real.
And
And
immoral activity
with grandpa.
with grandpa.
Bad grandpa. Okay, that's fair. Why are clairvoyants called mediums?
Why?
Because they're not rare or well done.
Fair.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just argue about the abstruse anatomical ontology of the human soul as if it were an informational matrix through which the universe was experiencing itself. Nay, we also sit quietly on the floor, stare intensely at our navel, and begin levitating the very furniture you're sitting upon, because this week we're exploring the occult teachings of Swami Panchadasi
Panchadasi.
on our quest to attain fully functional clairvoyance and telepathic abilities, the likes of which that have inspired countless myths, leaving the truth of the matter all but entirely obscure, save for those brave enough to try it themselves. I'm your host, Luke Madrid, also known as the Hack Rabbit. This week I'm joined by a regular rotation of active duty in the field co-hosts, the Psychic Corgi with the M60, Marisama.
I can see what you're thinking, and you deserve to be shot.
The Naked Neater of the Nile, Heka Astra.
Hello. Where are my clothes?
I just wanted to imagine you naked, so I wrote it that way. And the ghost writer of this episode, Mr. Hacker, otherwise known as Tim the Traumatizer.
I have such sights to show you.
Wish I had an excuse to do that episode over again. That was so fun.
It's better, I guess, to be the traumatizer than the traumatized.
Yeah. He's a Cenobite.
Sometimes you have to be the traumatized to become the traumatizer.
He's the salacious Cenobite.
It's a circle. It's a cycle. It's a endless loop.
Labyrinth.
Now, I just spent the last 3 days arguing about Star Wars, so I think it's time that we discuss the real-life version of Force powers. Because, go figure, every Force power that has appeared in Star Wars has a well-documented equivalent in the Indian or Hindu tradition. And
Like cities?
they're, yes, traditionally called cities. And if you're truly on the yogic path, you are supposed to ignore these special Force powers and abilities because they're considered distractions towards enlightenment, which is supposed to be attained through self-reflection, not levitating chairs.
Boo.
Let's be real. We all want to levitate chairs.
That'd be cool.
And let's say we're very pious Christians and we can give the sign of the cross to cancel out psychic powers. We should know more about our enemy, should we not? And somewhere upon this extreme scale of reasons why you would want to learn more about clairvoyance, Tim wrote us an incredible episode about the teachings of Swami Panchadasi.
Prelude.
Hindu demons, minds reaching across space and time. The ability to see while not seeing. What carnival of mysteries awaits in the east? The Western mind can only see the surface waters, but tonight we're going to dive deep, where dreams become reality, where demons rule the night. Let's set aside our mundane thoughts and enter this world of the fantastic, shall we?
Okay.
Make that sound so exotic and provocative, which I'm not sure is appropriate. But nonetheless, I think it's fair to say each of us on this episode have some experience with what is being discussed here, and we are going to be unmedicated enough to discuss it on the radio. So here we go.
Also, I was gonna say who doesn't make Eastern spirituality sound exotic and provocative? I mean, it's been being done since the Theosophy Society.
I mean, according to the textbooks written by Ghislaine Maxwell, it's very inappropriate. So we should be reverent.
You're inappropriate.
I love everyone.
That's
No, you
inappropriate.
I do.
Yeah, I don't believe him.
Let's continue, shall we?
Swami Panchadasi is said to be the author of the book Clairvoyance and Occult Powers, but in reality, this is just a pen name used by William Walker Atkinson, a prolific American New Thought and occult writer who published under several Eastern pseudonyms in the early 1900s.
Cultural appropriation.
Sources on Atkinson's bibliography identify Swami Panchadasi as one of his author personas. It was under that name that he wrote the weird stuff, like the topic on clairvoyance, the aura, the astral world, and related occult subjects, presenting them in a Hindu-flavored framework for Western readers.
So he could have just been Swami Art Vandalay. Like, it doesn't matter how we pronounce it, because he just was like, Swami Panchadasi. Let's put that on there.
I mean, you could have just put, like, Anonymous Swami.
Anana Swami?
Anana Swami.
Okay, we did discuss this a few episodes ago. It's not terribly unprecedented in the occult tradition to ascribe your occult writing to a more authoritative name, right? Like, oh, King Solomon wrote this.
Or Hack Rabbit. Or Heka Astra. Or Cryptic.
Choose your original character.
I mean, it's not unusual for people to use different names, right?
No,
Indeed.
I think it would be fun to write a grimoire and then ascribe credit to, like, Mikael or Lucifer or, I don't know, Bigfoot.
In the book that's the source for this episode, Clairvoyance and Occult Powers, the author explains in the intro it was written for Western readers rather than Indian students, because Western learners generally expect skepticism, evidence, and concrete proof, while Indian students traditionally accept teachings more directly and respectfully without demanding verification. As a result, the author says he has tried to support his ideas with Western examples, scientific-style cases, and respected Western sources rather than Indian authorities, even though he insists the underlying principles themselves come from the ancient Hindu occult philosophy. He also notes that some foundational concepts like astral plane and Akashic records must simply be accepted as basic premises because they are too ineffable to prove other than subjectively.
I mean, that's pretty typical in Western culture. Like, we talked about this before, where people want to know what your sources are, and it has to have like a scientific ground. Like, oh, what were the exact experiments? What was the control group? What was this? What was that?
Source, please.
Yeah.
If you go and read the autobiography of Yogananda, you get the impression that the gurus and folks of the Hindu tradition are very friendly to scientific research. And they oftentimes find that the hard, practical, material outcome reflects the wisdom tradition. So they don't have a problem with science. They just know that their yogis can levitate and shit. Like, they believe in gravity. They just believe that yogis have some sort of ability to use the natural laws to circumvent gravity in the same way an aeroplane circumvents gravity, but by a different means. You're not defying science. You're using the natural law to do something that's natural inherently.
Yeah, it sounds just like my teacher, Mari Yoganandi.
That's your name from now on.
So this is actually all like a little old school, but sometimes the old school is just what we need to knock us out of our modern arrogance of superiority to the past.
William Walker Atkinson was an American writer, lawyer, publisher, and major figure in the New Thought movement in the late 19th and 20th centuries. He's most well known there for his work on occult literature. Most researchers agree he was the true author of the Kybalion. We just did an episode on that.
That's what I thought.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what most researchers agree on. So, born in 1862, Atkinson spent his life writing under many different pseudonyms, not just Swami Panchadasi, but also Yogi Ramacharaka and Theron Q. Dumont. That last one's pretty badass too. As was the rage at the time, he liked melding Western metaphysics, Hindu-inspired philosophy, and practical mind training. He's especially remembered for helping popularize concepts like the law of attraction, have you heard of it? Mental influence, and psychic development for Western audiences. His works became highly influential in occult and self-help circles long after his death in 1932. In this way, Atkinson's work fits well with our research into spiritual movements around this era, which correspond with Aleister Crowley's Book of the Law, Edgar Cayce's Channeled Messages, Carl Jung's reception of Liber Novus, the Red Book, the birth of the science fiction genre, and the radical teachings of Krishnamurti, all of which seem to align on the idea that humanity is undergoing a spiritual awakening, which, if we read between the lines, will result in the activation of latent occult powers, in one form or another. Rather than beating around the bush with poetry, Atkinson's work cuts right to the chase and begins helping the spiritual seeker hone their skills and expand their mystical toolkit.
Act 1. The Astral Senses. The first chapter opens with the argument that people put far too much faith in the ordinary five senses, assuming that whatever they see, hear, taste, smell, or touch must be the full truth.
I'm pretty sure most of us know this not to be completely true at all times. I mean, I feel like everyone's had intuition or felt that before, but as we all know, senses can be easily fooled through illusion, suggestion, and misperception. Due to this, the mind is constantly correcting sensory errors. In this light, we could see the senses themselves are just instruments or channels of information, while the real knower is the mind, soul, or the ego behind them.
The five senses are also not as separate as they seem. They're all ultimately variations of touch or contact with external forces. Sight is the feeling of light waves, hearing the feeling of vibrations, taste and smell the feeling of chemical contact, and physical touch the most direct form of contact. Because human experience depends on the senses available to us, the world that we know is limited by those senses. Well, at least the sensorial world is.
That's what it's often referred to in the occult tradition. Well, what's the sensorial world? That's the world you can like touch and taste and smack around and bonk your leg on and make money in. It's a trap! And be successful in, all that stuff. The author says that if humans possessed additional senses, reality would appear much larger and more complex than it does now. Swami says that you can develop, quote, astral senses, which are higher, super-physical counterparts to the ordinary senses. These latent faculties supposedly allow experiences such as clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathy, psychometry, crystal gazing, and perception of distant past or sometimes future events. He insists these powers are not supernatural miracles, but natural abilities operating through subtler laws of nature that most people have not yet developed. That's what I was saying about the science thing. Like, you're eventually going to prove that lifetrons are real. Watch. You're just going to call them something else. I tend to believe them. The main message he's going for is that reality extends beyond ordinary senses, and that occult study seeks to understand and train those higher forms of perception. At first, I kind of thought the text was trying to say that telepathy and clairvoyance are the same thing.
Yeah, but according to Atkinson, they aren't. Using his terminology, there actually is a legit difference between the two. Telepathy is sending and receiving thoughts and emotions through a lesser sixth sense operating on the physical plane, while clairvoyance is treated more broadly as astral perception.
So, like, telepathy is specifically between, like, one target and another target, being, like, yourself and an external person, whereas astral perception doesn't have a specific unit target that it's sending or receiving from, right?
Yeah, and it's also like a sense that we all have naturally in our physical brains and like just biology, I guess. It's just so subtle, it's hard for us to really ascertain normally.
So when you talk to someone that has some kind of psychic sense, and then the first like aha that someone's going to try and do is like, okay, then what am I thinking? And so that would be the difference between clairvoyance, which is probably a lot more common than telepathy.
According to occult lore, human beings actually possess several physical senses rather than only 5, with the 2 lesser known ones being the sense of the presence of other living beings and the telepathic sense. So he's saying actually that telepathy is a natural thing that all humans have, whether they can tap into it or not, which is pretty unique, right?
I mean, yeah, I think this is how animals operate to some extent.
Yeah, I think so too. And the ability to sense other living beings is one that I agree with as well. And he says that it's ancient, instinctive, and is far stronger in wild animals and primitive humans, and even some domestic animals than like us normal humans walking around in cities and whatnot. Civilized people have the hardest time tapping into the sense, but it is still there, deep in there. I'd assume people with more awareness, though, would have more access to it. People like who meditate and do inner work, etc.
I'd argue, too, that people that have a traumatic past and are hyper aware have an easier time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like
absolutely.
sensing that. How they interpret it is, it's up to them, but like they do have access to that because of their heightened awareness.
I think scientifically it would be classified as traumatic empathy.
Yeah, I think research backs up what you're saying.
Yeah.
We just don't have it
It
right here in the
does.
notes.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard it called hyper awareness, but it's from like if you deal with, say, a violent family member, you're always like sensing when it's going to happen. So you're like more acutely aware of things than, say, a regular person.
This sense alerts beings to unseen dangers nearby in life, often producing a gut feeling, a creepy sensation, or an instinctive warning before any normal sight or sound reveals the cause. Telepathy is the other natural sense that he says everybody has, and in the text it talks about how it's also a neglected natural human physical faculty, not a lofty spiritual power. The author claims that animals often display it by sensing human intentions and emotional states, which I agree, especially with dogs, and also such as when a farmer mentally singles out one hen and that hen immediately reacts as if it knows that it's the target, right? Dogs, cats, horses, cows, and other animals show similar sensitivity, while primitive humans and especially women are far more responsive to these subtle impressions than modern civilized men. The presence sense and the telepathic are extremely ancient, instinctive abilities once useful for survival, and what people usually dismiss as mysterious may actually be the remains of a natural human sense or senses that have faded from ordinary awareness.
Okay, just to clarify, telepathy, he says, is like a sixth sense that everybody has.
Yes, even if it's kind of not used or really consciously integrated with in our modern everyday lives of like city people, it's still there.
You don't really have to go to the astral plane to have telepathy. Whereas a lot of times clairvoyance does occur on the astral plane. So like you see it in your mind's eye.
Okay.
So I was saying earlier that like telepathy is between like one target and another target. So that's like between you and another person, or you and a dog, or you and like something that is also a giver and a receiver. Whereas on the astral plane, there's not just things that are speaking in a language or dependent upon the material plane.
Yeah, like with clairvoyance, you could actually like remote view or something, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't necessarily need like a one other contact.
And that doesn't require the limitations. It's like beyond the limitations of the physical planes. So a lot of times you'll have people with clairvoyance that are doing astral projection that are like hovering above, let's say, a military site. And there's no way that that's physically possible for them to just hover above a military site, right? So it's kind of not...
Yeah, they're not talking to a bird. They're viewing it like independently of a physical body.
Yeah, so it's not dependent on the physical, whereas telepathy is like a sixth sense in the physical.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, and I like also how you earlier likened it to like maybe hyper empathy, because that's usually how most people manifest it, especially like when talking to animals or even nonverbal people.
A lot of times the way that it's explained with dogs, like if you want to actually figure out how your dog knows who to trust and who not to trust, which is sometimes more common in some breeds than other breeds. So it's not just like you physically and what you're capable of doing and what you're picking up on, like the nature versus nurture argument. It's also like a math equation, and they are able to do the math equation. Does that make sense?
It's more physical than even mental, honestly.
They have a ton of physical information that they're picking up on in way more depth than most people go through their daily life with. So if you're not consciously aware of the other five senses to a great depth, then you're not even going to touch on the sixth sense of the conclusion, which puts all of that information together.
And if some breeds have it more than others, it probably has some biological basis.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, like even you mentioned also the presence sense, which is like knowing there's someone around you.
Yeah.
That I would argue is almost the same thing, except you're not like connected with it, but you can sense that there's another being nearby. Like that feeling of, oh, I feel like someone's watching me, or that I'm not alone. Some people get actual physical responses to it, like goosebumps, chills, their gut moving around. So I think, again, even though telepathy in civilized humans is usually weaker and less reliable than, say, in animals or primitive people, some people can still receive surprisingly complex thoughts, images, or even designs from other minds.
In my opinion, if you have something like traumatic empathy or hypersensitivity, you're already taking in so much information that I personally think it's possible to pick up on astral presence. And that's like that weird spooky feeling that you get.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's someone next to you, and sometimes it could be, yeah, like you said, a spiritual energy or something
like
in a
ghosts.
different realm.
Yeah, like a ghost or something. So there's been a ton of physical research experiments done over the years in which one person mentally holds a shape or an idea and another person reproduces it. Even if the successes are inconsistent, they are still successful enough to raise some eyebrows. Most people experience only occasional flashes of telepathy, enough to suggest that thought transference could be legit, while many mental influences are constantly received all day, every day, but unconsciously without being recognized by the conscious mind.
The text takes the idea of telepathy even further, stating that in its higher form, telepathy becomes clairvoyance, aka astral telepathy.
Oh, dang, that's like what I just said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so telepathy evolves into clairvoyance. I get it.
Ordinary telepathy is thought and emotion, creating vibrations or waves that travel from one brain to another, somewhat like wireless transmission.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Astral telepathy, by contrast, is presented as something more direct, not the sending of waves through space, but the astral self reaching or touching another mind on the astral plane and perceiving what is there. Many of the strongest telepathic results actually happen when people unconsciously shift into a higher clairvoyant mode, which explains why telepathic experiments sometimes succeed brilliantly and other times fall on their face hard, even though the experiments took place under similar conditions.
According to the deep occult lore of the 19th century, every internal state, be it a flicker of emotion or a solid thought, radiates subtle energetic vibrations into the ether. Emotional waves are said to emanate from the nervous plexus, while the brain serves as the lighthouse for mental waves. This is why things like fear, rage, or even raw sexual excitement can sweep through a room like wildfire. These vibrations are literally contagious, leaping from one person to another through the sheer force of psychic induction.
That makes sense too, why in the Bardos it's like the things that that people are drawn to, like, oh, a couple having sex, right? It says that in the Bardos.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a magnetic quality to it. Like, I realized a few years ago, no matter how much I put on a fake, people could pick up on my emotions no matter what. And I was like, oh, I have to get my emotions under control. That's like how I noticed I had to do it, because I was like, there's no hiding it, really. Like, these things affect other people. There's no, like, I'd have to start bullshitting myself to see it any other way.
Just dissociate.
just take a lot of
It's not healthy.
I mean, I have that problem with like anxiety because it's like quite obvious when I'm like panicking, but I can't like hide it from people.
There's something about it that makes it like impossible almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even a really good psychic or a good guru could see through a spy. Like see through somebody who was lying on purpose, you know? See through somebody fooling themselves. Our author points out that the human vessel is essentially a biomagnetic radio equipped with both sending and receiving centers for these invisible forces. Specifically, he highlights the pineal gland as the primary physical organ for catching these thought vibrations, functioning remarkably like the receiver in a wireless telegraphy setup. And we never, ever will hear the end of it. Beyond just individual signals, we are constantly projecting a personal psychic atmosphere, a localized weather system made of our habitual moods and mental patterns. This isn't just limited to people either. Crowds, entire towns, and even specific buildings like churches or business districts develop their own collective psychic fingerprints. I totally agree with this.
Yeah, like an egregore.
It's so real. Like, I've noticed that when you live in a specific room, oftentimes the story of the person who lives in that room will play out very similarly to the last person that was in that room and to the last person that was in that room. Like, the story arcs start to take on the same form. That sounds superstitious AF, but hey, it's just something I've feel like I've noticed.
Even a room, it can play out like arcs, like you said, but I feel like most of the time it just becomes so uncomfortable that the new inhabitant leaves before the thing can happen again.
Or like at a business. Let's say you have like 9 employees.
Oh yeah, the building that can't keep a business in it and it keeps going out of business.
Yeah, well, okay, let's say it does stay in business. It will keep selecting those same 9 employees. Like, let's say the stoner gets fired because they got caught smoking weed. Guaranteed they'll hire another stoner and it'll fill that spot. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot get rid of those archetypes because it will suck it back in as if it has a mind of its own.
Yep.
And if you think like this, you can like dodge and weave and maneuver like unforeseen problems coming at you. You're like, oh, this thing's going to definitely come at me and I'll be ready for it. And then you could skill check and like actually overcome the thing. So like, this is useful information.
I mean, that makes sense because like the void that's left is in the imprint of our example stoner. And so the business itself is left in want of a stoner.
Yeah, it becomes attractive to it.
Yeah, so the energetic attraction is to the imprint that's left behind that's in want of that thing.
So you could have a drug problem and get hired to a place where the pizza delivery driver always has a drug problem. And if you overcome your drug problem, like you've leveled up and like beaten that boss in the RPG. And it helps to know that the business kind of sucked you there for that. Not like, you have to treat your life as if it is an RPG in that way. Because I mean, the universe does weird shit like this to you. It does.
Just as an example, there's probably people listening to this that have been in abusive relationships and then they get into another abusive relationship, right?
Sure.
So
It's the same thing all over again.
until
Same
you
different asshole.
Yes, until you stop that loop and then you leave that deficit to be filled by something completely other than, which is not dependent on a person filling that shape of the imprint that was left behind. I think only then can you change that imprint to be what it was left behind by. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Now, sensitive individuals can feel these atmospheres immediately upon entering a space, as they linger long after the original thinkers have left. Much like how it's explained in The Shining. When you burn toast, you can still kind of smell the toast lingering long after. Some people notice it way more than others. The big takeaway here is that telepathy isn't some deliberate Professor X trick. It's a constant, subterranean, and mostly unconscious exchange of influence that defines our connection to every person and environment we encounter.
So did we just discover the occult science of aura farming?
What's aura farming?
It's kind of like where you show off on social media.
It's when you
like,
just look badass for the sake of looking badass.
Yeah, you're like showing off, kind of.
Like mogging?
I believe.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Every boss in a Hideo Kojima game is S-level
farming
aura
is fuck.
maxing. Yeah, super S-level aura maxing.
Yes.
So aura farming is aura maxing? And
Yeah.
You think it's a little risky for R&R? If I say it's safe to surf this beach, Captain, it's safe to surf this beach. I mean, I know it's right to search this place. I'll search this place.
Yeah, but farming means you like are taking your aura power from people who are looking at you.
Oh,
so the
really?
point is to get more eyeballs.
I didn't know that.
Farming, like you're harvesting energy from other people for your aura.
So,
So you have
okay.
to look cool in front of them and mog them and shit.
So it's basically if you don't have a good aura of your own, so you vampirically steal it from others.
Bro, I gotta be real. I can do
Kinda.
that to a crowd in front of people. I cannot do it to you over the radio. You are blocked and shielded right now. You know what I mean?
It's kind of better like in real life, although it happens on social media a lot too. Like people be like when someone posts a thirst trap, perhaps they are aura farming from the post.
Yeah, that counts too.
So I slightly disagree with what aura farming means. Like aura farming is basically when you look at Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z, he's just in the corner and he has his arms crossed and like his cape is blowing in the wind and he just looks fucking badass.
When the first time they asked you want sparkling or still, are you trying to act like you was drinking sparkling water before you came out here?
That's just
Yeah, but
mogging.
people notice him.
Yeah,
But
it's like
people
mogging.
notice him.
I know, but he's not sucking energy from other people. He's just aura
But he's
farming in a
he's
sense
attracting
that,
it,
Yeah,
though.
he is. He's looking badass just to be badass.
So, okay, so I think the difference is you can aura farm from other people or you can aura farm from not people, and that's where Piccolo would fall, is not from others.
Sure.
Yeah, or Vegeta.
Okay.
Yeah, but people are still looking at them because they're cool as fuck.
But
True.
I mean, if you're vampirically bringing it into yourself from the external environment, that still would be aura farming. It's just not as imbalanced as directly taking it from another person, because that would break the golden rule.
Yeah.
Why do you walk in the clubs with 30 people around you and stand in the corner with big bodyguards for no reason? Why?
Well, it is
Yeah.
worth mentioning that it's something that our culture is trying to understand and is looking into. And despite how funny and nonsensical it is, we all know it's real to some extent, even in its unreality.
Yeah, like when you spend too much time around someone and you feel totally drained.
Oh my god, story of my life.
So, the Society for Psychical Research treated telepathy as the transfer of impressions from one mind to another without the normal senses and tried to study it under strict scientific conditions. Their investigators rejected experiments involving physical contact and focused instead on tests where a separated recipient guessed cards, numbers, names, objects, towns, and even copied diagrams thought by others. The text highlights the famous Creary family experiments, in which children reportedly guessed far beyond chance expectation, including long runs of correct answers and accurate identification of hidden objects and imagined names. The author presents these results as strong evidence that telepathy is real and not just coincidence, fraud, or ordinary sensory signaling. There are also spontaneous cases of telepathy, such as people suddenly sensing illness, danger, injury, or the urgent will of a loved one at a distance. So Swami argues that intense emotion, crisis, or concentrated desire makes telepathic impressions especially strong, and that some of these cases can resemble clairvoyance, though he says telepathy is distinct because it transmits what is in another person's mind, while clairvoyance directly perceives the actual scene. Full-blown hallucination vision, basically you see it in your mind's eye. So according to Atkinson, telepathy is the best first step in psychic development. By practicing telepathic exercises, students strengthen concentration, receptivity, and interpretation of subtle impressions, which then prepares them to develop higher faculties like clairvoyance and psychometry.
I cannot be the only one that can tell when they get a text message from, like, let's say their boss versus from their friend. You know what I mean? Doesn't it, like, feel a little different? Like, even if the noise is the same? Like, the ting just feels different in your pocket when it's your boss versus when it's, like, you know, your kid or your, like, mom or something. It just feels different.
I feel like I would know this feeling better if I left my notifications on, but I don't.
I went for like a year without talking to my dad. And then, not because I didn't like him or anything, just because I was crazy busy with school. And then one day I was walking back to my university and I suddenly became very overwhelmed and was like, I need to call my dad. I don't know why. I need to call him. And I called him and he was in the middle of having an emotional breakdown because one of his friends just passed away.
Whoa.
So that would be considered what? Quiz time.
Clairvoyance.
Telepathy?
To me, it sounds like that's something that begins as telepathy and then the volume cranks up until it hits clairvoyance and, like, until something responds.
I think it qualifies as emotional telepathy, maybe?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say so. I guess.
Act 2 of Mice and Mari.
Do what now?
Is there a way I can get mind reading powers like Professor X?
You silly Billy. Jean Grey. I'm not saying that.
I know. It's from The Office.
Oh, well, should I say it for the lull? Don't be silly, you ignorant slut. Jean Grey had far superior mental prowess out of the mental magic X-Men universe.
Okay. Well, I think I can because the book argues that genuine mind reading is simply a form of telepathy, despite the many fake stage performance versions created through trickery or collusion. He says there is something legitimate to it. The book divides mind reading into two types, one involving physical contact between the sender and receiver, and one with no contact, but close physical proximity, such as in the willing game.
What's that?
Yeah, what's that?
The willing game is a telepathy exercise, usually blindfolded, and you try to find an object that a group has chosen in advance without any physical contact. The group focuses intensely on the object and mentally wills the person toward it step by step, while the receiver stays passive and tries to sense the mental direction. I feel like I can do this.
It's hard interviewing someone for escape rooms and trying to explain to them they need this psychic ability. You're like, you have to be able to will someone over the camera to pick up the yellow cube when they refuse to think.
You know what? Sometimes willing the exact opposite works the best.
That's funny.
Sometimes I tell them in my head to do the exact thing that I don't want them to do, and then they do the right thing.
See, now you're learning.
In the contact form, the author says thought currents may travel along the nervous system, though sometimes they seem to shift in a more direct brain-to-brain connection. The text stresses that real understanding comes through practice rather than theory, and advises beginners to start as receivers with sympathetic partners who are mentally en rapport, meaning in strong vibrational harmony. Rhythmic breathing, concentration, passivity, and repeated exercises are recommended to build sensitivity to mental direction.
Having on your period also,
What the
that will mentally link you pretty quick.
What the
I think that spiritually links you.
Careful.
That's blood magic. The chapter then lays out step-by-step training system. First, locating a part of a room, then large objects, then small and concealed objects, and eventually minute hidden items. From there, the student progresses to contact-free mind reading, then to the willing game, then to guessing words, names, and ideas, and finally to long-distance telepathy with written records for accuracy. The author says physical nearness does not actually strengthen telepathy itself, but helps beginners focus and feel confident until they can work across greater distances. The overall message is that simpler mind-reading exercises are a practical gateway to higher psychic development because they train concentration, receptivity, and interpretation, and may eventually lead to stronger telepathy, automatic writing, clairvoyance, and other psychic abilities.
It helps if you go into it already with an ability to meditate and not wanting it so badly.
Yeah, lust for results will always screw you.
Which is hard when you're doing something intentionally like this. So that's why oftentimes you have beginner's luck where your first time, it's like a dead hit and then it's hard to repeat it unless you're really good at going into no mind. And even then, like Ingo Swann claims, 50% accuracy is like insanely accurate. So you're still going to get it wrong half the time.
But just do it for fun.
Yeah.
And you'll probably do better.
Yeah.
But don't care about doing better.
That's how I gamble.
Now this brings us to that really fun word psychometry, which is basically a form of clairvoyance where a person gains information about a person, place, event, or situation, object by touching an item connected to it, like clothing, hair, a stone, a shell, a zipper.
When you go into a thrift store and you're like, oh, that's not a fun item.
Something terrible is about to enter our world, and this building is obviously the door.
And that
This is a cursed item.
Yeah, you're like, this is some no bueno.
Like when you accidentally touch somebody's butt plug and it's like, oh my God, and you see flashes of like the devil.
No, it's like, oh, it looks so pretty. And then you pick it up and it could be like a...
Oh, and it feels icky.
Like a music box of... And it's like cute. And you pick it up to look at it and then you're just like, whoa, no.
Yeah, I hated going in thrift stores as a kid. I just feel like gross around them.
Accosted psychically.
I mean, I've deliberately bought stuff like that before just to see if I could actually cleanse it.
Yeah,
if
it's
you want
good
a
to buy
challenge.
haunted stuff and then leave it in the houses of people you don't like.
I will eat my neighbors.
Like hidden somewhere.
No, I mean, buying it as a challenge to yourself as to whether or not you can cleanse it. See if it feels different after.
That too.
These physical relics function as a potent associative link, placing the psychometrist in rapport with the indelible astral records of the object's history, much like grasping the loose end of a cosmic ball of yarn to trace it back to its primal source. Through this faculty, a sensitive can diagnose a person's physical vitality, map their character and past, or gaze upon distant landscapes tethered to the item. It even allows one to pierce the veil of time to witness the ancient sagas of artifacts, fossils, and crumbling ruins. Ultimately, psychometry stands as a primary gateway for inducing the clairvoyant state, alongside crystal gazing and astral reverie. You know, and this reminds me too of like, it wasn't necessarily an item, but when I was house hunting, when I came to see this house in a showing, I like literally walked through the foyer into the kitchen and I'm like, I know this is like a future thing, but I was like, I feel like I've lived here before, but it was in the future.
That's a good sign.
You know how like when you go to like maybe a house you lived in as a kid, or like you go back to your parents' house and you're like, oh, this is nostalgic. I got nostalgia for something I hadn't lived in yet. And here I am.
That's weird.
Well, that's how I knew that this was my house, because it felt like I lived here.
Yeah, I think that's also the thing that people are like trying to explain when they're saying like, well, it doesn't quite feel like home. They're like, you know, they're saying it doesn't feel like that.
Or when somebody finds something and they're like, this is the one, I just know it. They're feeling that feeling towards it.
Most people purchase a home based on that feeling, and it's probably for a good reason.
Yeah, with my gut on it. I mean, it's a broke house, like, don't get me wrong, but I love it.
I mean, as long as there's like a good like underfloor so you could put bodies in there and it won't smell too bad.
No, not only that, but I just don't feel spooky here. Like the first house I rented before I moved here, it was being condemned, which is we got kicked out before our lease was up. It was just some shady business dealing that the landowner sold the house out from under us, and like we got kicked out. But that house was on a fault line, and it was like under some power lines or something, and like we feel like there was a dead grandma ghost in one of the rooms, and the floors were all like misshapen.
Those are the
because
worst.
of the floors are all misshapen because of termite damage. But it felt bad. Like I felt like there had been like multiple murders in the house, and we couldn't explain it. So this house is much better.
Now, the text supports the idea with many examples, including accounts of psychometrists describing strangers' lives, distant offices, ancient Egypt, battlefields, fossils, meteorites, whales, and mastodons from just tiny fragments of related objects like buttons or paper clips or used tampons or whatever.
What? So matter retains a kind of vibrational record of what it has been connected with. Sensitive people can read those impressions psychically.
Yeah, like we were talking about last week when things are entangled.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Yep.
For practice, the author advised the students to sit quietly with an unfamiliar object held to the forehead, shut out distractions, and wait for flashes of scenes or impressions to arise, preferably alone or with sympathetic company. The text also says sealed letters are especially useful for developing psychometry and warns that anyone experimenting with this ability should be honorable and discreet about private information they may uncover.
What does it mean with sympathetic company?
So if you are around other psychic people, your psychic ability increases.
So it's saying to either sit alone, preferably, or with other people that are kind of on the same page as you.
Yeah, if you're sitting in a room entirely full of skeptics, your ability will probably work worse. So sympathetic means either people who believe in your ability or have the same ability, that kind of thing.
One of my favorite parts of Enochian lore is John Dee using crystal gazing as a method of clairvoyance.
It wasn't John Dee, it was Edward Kelly, but yeah.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
He just doesn't have the same juice to his name that John Dee does.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know,
crystals are the shit.
It's actually switched around. Like in the Americas, John Dee is usually the hero. And then in Europe, Edward Kelly is the hero. And John Dee is the scoundrel. But
what?
Yeah. Like in
Those
the
heretics.
European occult tradition, no, they think Kelly is the true magician. And John Dee is like a wannabe.
Yeah, we got to burn him at the stake.
It's like the opposite over here, right? To be fair, though, if you listen to John Dee pray fervently for enough hours at a time without any stimulation whatsoever, you'd start wildly hallucinating as well. So
How do you listen to
you're stuck in a room with him.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Smelling his body odor and staring at his books.
I thought you were advising our audience, and I was like, he's dead. How do you sit with him?
Clairvoyantly.
Okay.
You just imagine a stuffy room and he's like, oh God, I'm not worthy enough for this. I am such a sinner. Jesus Christ, please forgive me. Please give me a vision of the angels. I know that I'm not worthy, please. And this goes on for like 6 hours. Then the angels show up and they're like,
because your theory is we're going to go down there and have a donkey barbecue and I'm going to furnish the ass, right?
what up, bro? And Kelly's like, ah! Because
Kelly's like, tell me to your wife.
the angels are like, see that weirdo in the corner? Or the guy who's reading the crystal ball? This guy talks to demons at night.
Dude, that's legit why they broke up, though, was because, like, Kelly tried to do a wife swap.
No, the angels told them to wife swap, my bro.
Oh.
I thought they did do a wife swap.
The angels told them to. The angels told them to.
Okay.
They didn't want
the
to.
Angels.
They didn't want to.
All right.
No, really. We got to do an episode on it.
I bet Kelly wanted it.
Maybe. No, the angels told them to do it.
Uh-huh.
As channeled through Kelly.
It's laugh-worthy, but Enochian magicians consider this a data point because whenever you talk to Enochians, they eventually get to the wife-swapping business. They do.
What the fuck?
No, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard, if you talk to the Enochians long enough, they'll get to this point. You have to be warned. If you are an Enochian magician and you have any experience with the angels telling you to wife swap, please leave a comment. Please join the Discord and tell us about it.
Tell us your story. Oh my god. I don't know. I just can't, dude. I can't. To me, it's just that dude being a creep.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
To me, it's
I can't
the
get by. I can't get past it.
I'm on the same page.
Well, they couldn't get past it either. But that's because they didn't believe in God enough. They didn't put their collective into the
Holy
same pot
king.
together.
No, God doesn't care if you wife swap or not. Let's be real.
Hey, don't.
Yeah, God doesn't care.
I'm not the expert. I'm not the friggin' Enochian angels. I don't speak for them. You ask them yourself. And if you can't figure out how to pick up the phone and dial, that's probably because you are
1-800
below
wife swap.
200 IQ intelligence, or you're just not autistic enough to figure out how to use
You
Enochian.
probably shouldn't, though, because most people who do that go insane.
Yeah.
What, dial 1-800 wife swap?
No,
Yeah, that
who
too.
do with Enochian magic.
It's true.
It doesn't end
Yeah,
well
that's
for most
true.
people who do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't end well for most people who do it because they jump to it first. You have to get through a lot of training and talking to vanilla angels before you go calling up the friggin' Enochian angels.
Yeah.
Who
You
would-
got to do a bunch of necromancy and summon all the 72 demons of the Goetia. Then you're good.
I wouldn't recommend doing that first
I'm just
either.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I would feel really bad if you did that. Don't do that.
Well, if you think you get your ass wrecked from demons, good luck.
Angels your ass harder,
Oh, yeah.
They make you wife swap.
and they're all laughing at you.
It's like, look at, he believed it. Stupid clay humans.
Yep.
They're all just laughing at it. It's like, oh, look at God. See, this is who you said is better than us. Look at how stupid they are.
They're sitting in that chair in the corner of the room like a cuck lord.
But yeah, God, all you have to do is be like, yeah, square peg, round hole, duh, duh, and then they do it. Real good work, dude. Real good work.
Something you're doing?
I'll save you guys the time and the pain of the wife swap. The point of it is that not wife swapping is not the thing that makes you righteous or loyal. There you go. That's it. Angel lesson.
What? Say that. Hold on. I don't get it. Say it again.
Not wife swapping is not the thing that makes you righteous or loyal.
So not doing it is what makes you righteous.
No, the point of doing it is to realize that. Does that make sense?
Meaning-
wait, no, you're talking about from like the Christian context of the time.
Yeah.
It was trying to like break them out of their reality tunnel.
Thinking that blindly adhering to a moral law is what makes you righteous is wrong.
I
That's
get
an
it.
angel lesson.
But also, you have to be willing to do anything for Jesus, no matter what.
I think being asked to do f***ed up shit is like a test all of its own to test if you would do it or not, and you pass if you
Yes.
don't. a
What
lot
about
of the time.
Abraham? What about the guy whom the entire 3 religions are named after? What did he do?
What about Job?
He did it.
He went to do it.
He went to do it.
Yeah, he went to do
The
it.
whole
Oh,
point
God.
is he was willing to do it, and God was like, "See,
You don't need to do it.
you don't need to do it. I just told you you had to."
Yeah.
And
I
you
was just
actually were
trolling
gonna
you,
do it.
bro. Yeah. God's like, stop.
Angel lesson.
You dumb bastard.
Can't believe you would actually do that.
All backwards up here.
All right, we're getting lost in the woods though.
We lost these woods for 40 years, my friend.
It's been 84 years.
I get that reference.
But if you'd like to hear the rest of the episode where we continue to talk about crystal gazing, force Skyping, yes, it's real.
I saw the word monkey.
We read the Book of the Law, talk about Japanese RPGs, and quite a bit more about clairvoyance, Jedi mind tricks.
And Star Wars.
I see the words force Skyping.
It comes up quite a bit. Please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you this extended episode, you'll get the extended episode of every single one of our episodes going back over 7 years. That's less than $1 a year. It's a very old pricing model. Get it while it's hot. Not only that, I'll send you 5x5. Dude, it's inflated a lot. It's true.
No, it's inflation proof.
Yeah, we'll send you a vinyl sticker. It might take a while. It's 5x5. It's high quality, and it has the Big Bunny Baphomet cover art.
And you get the keys to the Discord.
Yes, you get to talk to us about weird stuff in the Discord. We'd like to hear about your psychic impressions and stories. Everyone really likes it when that comes up, but mostly we just share silly memes.
And
You can also have one-on-one lessons with Mari on how to summon 72 demons of the Ars Goetia.
Stop it. No.
No.
I'm just a dog. God, leave me alone.
And necromancy lessons from Mari.
No.
Thank you, everybody. Eat carrots and shoot lasers.
Pew, pew, pew.
I was a liar.
Is that because of dogs liking bones?
Yeah, why do you like necromancy so much, Mari? It's
I
weird.
just
Beware of God.